So I thought I'd do a video on my mouse rack setup. I found quite a bit of info on rat racks, but not a whole lot on the mouse racks. So I thought I'd share with you my design and my setup. I just made a new one with a few nicer little upgrades. On this one I've got the gravity fed system, which is super nice. Oh my gosh, it's so much better. I actually got orders out to convert these racks as well because water bottles are so annoying. I just had one flood and kill a whole bunch of my gerbils, so that was sad. So by flood I meant a water bottle. A lot of people say that these flood. I've never had these flood. I've had several water bottles just dump because it just doesn't get a good seal. Anyway, so I will link to these tub sizes. Oh, look at this girl. She's probably the biggest I've ever seen. I'll link to these tubs. I like them quite a bit. I got these gray ones first, but I kind of like these semi see-through ones. I think the gray ones end up being just a tad bit cheaper. But I've done the double, so there's 7 tiers. And the wood that I use, Home Depot has 2x3s, which are nice. I think it's the perfect size. 2x4s would be huge, and a 2x2 is probably good, but anyway. So I used a lot of 2x3. You can see here the space in between is a 2x3, so it sits on that, and then I've got this little spacer for the height of the bin here. And then these are just 1x2s on the side. So essentially, these are 23.5 long, and these are 9 1/4. And so I build 7 of those, and then I flip them over and I put on the wiring, 1.5 inch. I have had some of my adult mice get their heads stuck in there, and 1 or 2 die because of it, but most of them I can pop them back down in the cage. The hoppers quite frequently do come out, but they don't ever stray far. They just come out to eat and then they go back to their mouth. So it hasn't been an issue. Because I think the 1/4 inch is just too small. Then you got to cut holes for the water nipples, and then they have trouble getting easy access to the food. So I prefer the 1/2 inch. As far as spacing with these specific tubs, I found a 0.45 inch gap is the best. That's what I've cut these 1x2s down to. Normally they're this size, and I trim them down a bit with the table saw so they're a bit thinner. There's still a little bit of room, but these ones have a little more room than I would like, and these ones I didn't trim down as much. So about 0.45 inches is the good size for that. On this one I use 2x4s for the side posts, and they're huge and massive and not necessary. So on this one I actually split some 2x4s. Yeah, obviously you could just do a 2x2. Probably would be easier because splitting an entire 2x4 on a table saw is not ideal. I would not recommend it. What else? So 23.5, 9 1/4, and then my spacing, oh crap, what is it? It's like 10 inches or like 9.5 inches, I think is what I ended up doing. I don't have a thing in here to measure, but you can just kind of figure it out. I add a couple inches to the bottom for some extra room. And you can obviously add more space or reduce as necessary, and then just cut your side posts. And the way I do it is I'll get this first rack, flip it upside down, mount all the posts to it, and then just add these shelves. Once all the shelves are in, I then will have one of these as a guide, and I'll smash it up against and then mount these side posts. And then I actually, before I mount the shelves to the rack, I put these on as well. So I'll cut these pieces. This full length is what? 14 1/4 for these pieces and the side rails. And then another improvement that I did in this one, you can see the food gets stuck in the middle and just this junk, it gets kind of dirty. So I cut some 1x2s to kind of go in the middle there and prevent mostly the food from getting stuck there, but also hopefully keeping it a little cleaner. And then I also, so the mesh, wire mesh I got was 2 foot long, and it ended up overlapping just a teeny bit. And so I just took the time to cut it, clean it up a little bit. It makes it look a lot nicer and fit a lot better because this is pressing against the wire mesh and not the wood. So anyways, let me know if you have any questions on measurements or anything. Happy to share. My mice have been loving the rack system. It's just so convenient to be able to change out the bedding and just manage my colonies. In these bins, they are a little smaller, so I'm running 1 male, 2 females in each. So if you have any recommendations on like labeling, pretty much what I've been doing is just I've got these little gardening tags and just been writing down when I get litters. Eventually I'd like to do like little ID cards for each of the breeders and then some sort of labeling system for the litters. I don't know. Let me know if you guys have ideas on that. I'd like to do something a little better that's kind of ghetto. So, oh, screws. So if you're doing 2x3s, I highly recommend the 3.5 inch screws from Home Depot. I think they just call them like construction screws. Instead of a Phillips head, they have a hex style head, and you want to get a nice impact driver, and they're money. They are self-tapping and they just drive in super easy. Even just these side rails, I use little like 1-inch screws, and even just driving those in was a freaking nightmare. So highly recommend the 3.5 inch screws. They are wonderful. Pretty much this entire thing is built with them except for the side rails. And I think that's it. I'm probably missing a few things. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you have questions. I'm been doing mice a while, but I'm fairly new to rats, still kind of figuring these guys out. The little baby ones are absolutely adorable. I can't get enough of them. And the rats that I got from a breeder. She's been breeding specifically for temperament for like 5 years. So they are all super chill, which is nice. My big boy there. These are little dwarfs. Little babies. Anyway, that is all. Thanks for watching. I do feed Missouri 6F. And I also do half and half this doggy bag from Tractor Supply for my rats, but the mice specifically get the 6F only. And then I do supplement, like I've got a garden, so I'll throw in like lettuce, which they love, sometimes strawberries or something. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Oh, last thing, I promise. I unplugged it because I recorded an entire video and it was so freaking loud. This is my ventilation system. I'm down in the basement. I plumbed that outside right next to the laundry. I'm actually under the laundry room, out next to the laundry vent. So this is a VivoSun 4-inch inline duct fan. I did have a bathroom fan, but they are not meant to run 24 hours a day, and they are a fire hazard. And it didn't do that good of a job. So I got this bad boy, and it's been awesome, mostly because they both pulled air fairly well, but this has this giant filter. The air actually comes out into my back patio, and with just the bathroom fan, it smelled so bad. It's getting to be warmer, and yeah, did not it wasn't a pleasant experience being out there. Now with this big old charcoal filter, it doesn't smell bad at all, which is nice. So my back patio is more pleasant. Let's see if I can get this plugged in. Get a little loud. But yeah, highly recommend one of these if you've got somewhat bigger of a setup. So anyway, that is all. Bye.